Hello, Betty Croswick here. So, on the subject of masculine toxicity, there are quite a few definitions on Google. You can take your pick. I picked one that says toxic masculinity is a popular term for characteristically male behaviors that are harmful to men and to society as a whole. Well, you know, when men get together, they may like a rough and tumble. Uh, who knows? Goes on in the minds of men. There's a woman I don't really know, but I do know that when women and children get to vote on masculine toxicity, uh, they don't like physical violence. That's harmful to society as a whole. And if you're asking children and women and they get to vote on the matter, they will say no, they don't like masculine toxicity. That if it involves physical violence. And now, but all kinds of toxic behaviors are evident in the financial world, in the political world, particularly in the heads of states world, where they get together and try to decide how the rest of the world is going to live. This is toxicity of the worst kind because they seek to involve the world more or less in their toxic behaviors. Well, they may not be physical, violent in the individual sense of the word. Their toxic masculinity will involve the hardships of people in the entire world. So let's kind of shift the definition away from individual male toxicity to the global situation. And certainly, I would like to bring in Pierre Trudeau, because Pierre Trudeau, in my opinion, he's pretty damn toxic. He really, really is, because his decisions affect all of us, and he makes them by to decree as a king would. And you must not disobey the king, or you will make the king angry, and he will do bad things to people who have made him angry. For instance, the truckers made him very angry. So he froze bank accounts, and he arrested people, and he even froze the bank accounts of some people who just supported the truckers. Now, this, in my opinion, is the most toxic of behaviors, because he takes out his anger at truckers, whom he considers the most toxic of men because they have disobeyed him. And also, he extends his grandiose vision of who composed the most toxic of men in his domain to vaccinated and unvaccinated people should be separated, and the vaccinated people should fear and despise unvaccinated people because they are a menace, an absolute menace to the vaccinated people, the good Canadians that obey the king and his ever decrees. Now, it is true that in the beginning this was frightful, the COVID, and we needed um, help and guidance to what was happening. And unfortunately, in my opinion, this became hysteria and still remains hysteria as long as Trudeau can keep it going. And he will keep it going, all the shutdowns and the keep always in our mind, he and Dr. Fossey, that they're coming back. Yeah, be prepared. There are going to be more variations. There's no help except from the government. And so this is pretty bloody toxic, in my opinion. But back to the truckers. It isn't enough that he arrested them, charged them, froze their bank accounts, that even to the horror of the European Parliament, you have people rising in the European Parliament seeking to ban Trudeau from speaking in the Parliament, at the European Parliament. So it's not looked on kindly by the rest of the world, his kingship. And lately, he has not done enough to punish the truckers. He pays no attention now to what other people think. He's above the censure from the European Parliament, even. Never mind the lawyers in Canada who've been kept busy figuring out how this is going to be really exposed as a terrible onslaught on the Canadian Charter. And so we'll see how it turns out. In the meantime, Trudeau, in his meal toxicity, has will be increasing the taxes on the new trucks that the truckers must have in order to pass all the regulations about what a truck going over the borders is supposed to have. Excuse me. And making it impossible for them financially, at least a good portion of them financially, to be able to stay in business. The ones who are independent operators, they can't meet these horrific new taxes on new trucks. And so they'll be out of business, and there'll be many fewer trucks carrying goods, carrying food, carrying medicines, carrying all of the things that people need. Prevents them from doing what they are trying to do, which is bring goods, much needed goods, to the Canadian food stores, to the pharmacies, to all of the things that go into trying to keep Canadians healthy through what looks like is going to be a bit of a food shortage, perhaps in the future, at least some favored foods. And we don't know what the future brings, but I guarantee you, Trudeau, Mr. Justin Trudeau, is going to meet it with travel restrictions, with the most strict restrictions that he can possibly impose on the Canadian people, to keep them fighting each other and to keep them from coming together through his pitting one group of Canadians against another group of Canadians in any way that he possibly can. And it's dreadful. It's dreadful to see a politician acting in such petty, vindictive, harmful ways that harm the public instead of helping them. And, we can say that, well, I was just thinking that Canada is number one in that we have the number one toxic male, probably in my humble opinion, the friggin' Western world. Okay? He's right up there if he's not the king. Okay? Thank you. Next time. Bye. Stay well.